It's a rough one today for your good old pal Vosh. You know, there I was last night trying to sleep at a decent godly hour. Um, I just could not fall asleep. I could not fall asleep. And then I did fall asleep at like 5 a.m. And then I woke up at 6 a.m. with a raging headache. And that's more or less where I am today. So it's going to be a short stream. I swear to God, normally I do something to deserve this, right? Like I stay up too late. Or I do something irresponsible. This time, I actually don't know. I don't know. You know, I think it might have just been a bad dice roll. Maybe, 2 days ago I had some like greasy food, but I slept well that night. I don't know. Got the lights a little bit lower because I've still got a headache. It's the full moon. It could be the full moon. It could be, I'm a solar ascendant and the lunar power is suppressing me. Um no, I'm definitely not feeling phenomenal. Stream's going to be short. We're going to be, and that's fine, honestly, because given the state of the news these days, I don't want to be here. um it's going to be perfunctory. We're having PV on in an hour to talk about North Carolina. So if you want to be useful for once in your lives, that's your opportunity to jump on board. He's got to ban a lot of chatters. No, no, I don't have the energy. No, no, no. Banning chatters is fun. That's a engaged back and forth. No, no, no. That's just whatever. I'm not reading chat. I don't care. You're just old now. I'm just old now. I'm just 31 years old. It's fine, nuts. It's fine. It doesn't matter. Uh did you try jorking it? Yeah, that's the first thing you do when you can't sleep. And then it's the second thing you do when you can't sleep. It didn't fix the issue. I'm sorry. Oh, I can barely keep my eyes open, man. Jesus. Oh, that sounded nice. Yeah, I'm happy it went down like that, you know? Could have gone worse, I think. Oh boy. No, I mean I feel fine besides that. I mean besides the news, of course. It's not like a broader sickness or anything. Though I mean it's just general shutdown, you know. Teasing an ASMR channel. ASMR channels give me the heebie-jeebies. I don't like that shit. That always puts me off. I think I'm about to see like a neat little cooking video that's 60 seconds long, like a YouTube short, and then they start talking like this. And I'm like, fuck, you're not my lover. Get your damn tongue out of my ear. I don't like that shit. Get out. I don't like that. I don't understand what the appeal for that is. Is it like a sex thing? Is it like a lonely thing? I have no idea. Ugh, excuse me. Sensory thing, I think. Okay. I mean, people liked mukbangs. That was a thing for a while, and that also to me is just you know what the problem with those is or was maybe apart from being gross, it makes me hungry. I don't get like it's podcast with food, but you're interrupting the podcast to eat, which means there's less podcasting per minute. There's fewer pods in the cast. And also, now I'm hungry. And these motherfuckers are eating way more than I can eat. So, I don't know. You're supposed to eat with them though. That to me is really sad. Like, what are you replacing? A family meal? That seems sad to me. Hassan's always eating on stream. It's because he streams longer hours than me. I can't stand talking while eating. If I'm eating, I'm pretty silent. So I don't want to eat on stream. Thankfully, I stream 4 to 5 hours. Not today. Not today. Not 4 to 5 hours today, but generally. around 4 to 5 hours, so I don't have to eat during stream. But if I streamed like 8 to 10 hours a day, I'd be eating during stream. Did you see the 4chan leaks? A good chunk of the moderators have government emails from what I heard. Don't buy the hype. .gov email doesn't mean shit. You can get a .gov email with a university. You can get a .gov email with a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah, whatever. .4chan mods do not have .gov email. It's fake news. No, I think they do. It's just that, like, do you really think a federal agent would log in to their federal agent undercover job with the government email that they have? Like, you don't think that part of the Fed bit they're doing, they might, like, register a Gmail account? Yeah, kinda? Okay, well, that's fair. In this administration? Yeah, but this administration's only a few months old. The 4chan mods have been around for a while. What are your thoughts on the CSOT satellite image? I don't think it means anything. You see like a reddish stain. That's an old image, by the way. You see like a reddish stain on stone. It could be a lot of stuff. Like a lot of stuff. It could be food waste. It could be like greasy runoff water. It could be a lot of stuff, you know? Like for one, you know, having seen photos of mass graves, and mass graves in the making, humans just don't leak that much. That was a big old puddle, right? You shoot someone in the back of the head, you know, you've got like a mess right there. You don't usually have this big, like, continuous, smooth, red, you know, like maybe if you were washing it down or whatever, but no, that's still a torture camp, you know, let's not understate it. Hi, I'm from Hong Kong, migrated from YouTube chat. Why are so many people here? What the fuck? 6,500. The stream start time is -1 minutes ago. You chose a bad day to watch me, man. I've got a headache. You got raided, I think? I don't think I got raided. I don't think anyone raids me. Oh, man. I'm awake. I'm awake. I'm awake. Okay. I'm not going to be here for long today, so I'm going to try to be perfunctory. At least to the extent that I'm capable of being perfunctory, which is I'm not really. It's a question. Where do we go from here? Where do we go from here? The Trump administration is acting in open defiance of a 9-0 Supreme Court order. We don't have a response from Justice Roberts yet. I don't know what we're going to get from him when we do. There's no question that what the Trump administration is doing is being done in defiance of the Supreme Court. If you take a look at the video of him receiving Bukele, the president of El Salvador, at the White House, it's very, very clear that Trump is barely even, like, conscientious of what's taking place. It seems like Stephen Miller is the person who is actually making these decisions, which makes sense because he's a intelligent and extremely evil person. Yeah, I don't... so where do we go from here? Where do we genuinely, like, that's my question. Like, here's a CNN video, okay? Is Trump defying the Supreme Court's order? Hear what a former judge thinks. This is what I'm worried about. This is what I'm worried that we're going to see. Well, I'm worried that we don't have a response to this besides effectively, oh my God, the constitutional crisis is right behind me, isn't it? You know? That's like this is not an I told you so thing, but I have said, like, one of my criticisms of the way liberalism tends to express power in the world today is that liberals are very reliant on institutions to guide how power behaves. They act as though power springs from the institutions rather than the institutions being reified by power. Does that make sense? So here we are, right? Like, it turns out if you have power, you can just do anything you want. And keep in mind, by the way, we only ran up against this wall because the Supreme Court deigned to issue a 9-0 ruling, right? The Supreme Court is conservative. They could have very well issued a 6-3 or 5-4 decision saying, no, Trump has the right to do whatever he wants. Like, it's only by circumstance that we arrived at this point. I imagine the Trump administration was a little bit blindsided by it too. I imagine they kind of expected the Supreme Court to, you know, like, we get it. They all know they're lying. They all know. They understand. But, you know, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, right? Does the court have the power to challenge the executive? Yeah, they just did in a 9-0 ruling that the executive ignored. Miller's been saying the 9-0 ruling was in favor of the executive branch. Well, of course, yeah, they lie as easily as they breathe. Yeah, so again, what do we do? Like, there's no actual legal ambiguity there. All power, it's at the end of the day, all power comes from the barrel of a gun. That's the quote, right? That's where we're at. I understand. I'm not being very helpful. I have no idea. I don't know. It seems like it might be over, at least for now. I still think that, like, the ultimately, like, what we're saved by is the fact that fascists are doctrinally incompetent. They are incapable of managing a stable government. They fall every time. But we are, like, out of walls here. What, like, I like, genuinely, what? Okay, here are some articles. U.S. judge to question Trump officials' refusal to return Kilmar Abrego Garcia. A federal judge in Maryland is expected to question the Trump administration Tuesday about its continued refusal to retrieve Kilmar Abrego Garcia, even after the Supreme Court ordered his return to the U.S. What is he going to do? Just issue an injunction? What would the injunction do? Send the marshals? What would the marshals do? See, that's the point. Right? At the end of the day, like, all of this, and it's the media environment. It's the media environment as well, obviously. Like, citizens' unrest is not is something that can, you know, sort of undermine any governance. Right. Certainly, like, the Trump administration is not popular enough to really have the mandate, you know? But unfortunately, nobody seems to give a shit. Right? Like, it's like nothing's actually happening. Right? Dems going directly to El Salvador. Yes, there's a Democratic senator who's going to El Salvador. Okay, so what happens? You get me, right? I'm not trying to be doomer about this. It's just like we've run up against the problem here. And it does seem like no one cares. No, I know, right? Like, the politically engaged people care, but this is being treated with the same severity as any other bit in the news cycle. Trump is a crook. 34 felonies. Insider trading. USAID. Elon Musk. Defying a Supreme Court order. But it all fades. It's the, you know, flood the system, right? It's all just noise. Flood the zone, yeah. I mean, like, what about Ukraine? You've heard of this country, I assume. Euromaidan, right? Yanukovych, in contradiction to previous claims made and the will of the people, expressed his intention to back away from trade deals with the EU, which would have enriched Ukraine, and instead consolidate and trade with Russia because he was a puppet of Russia. And the people were so dissatisfied with this that it kicked off this massive wave of protests. Folks, what Yanukovych did then was nothing compared to what just happened here. Literally, like like Yanukovych went against the public will. This is so far beyond that. I don't know. Don't you think saying no one cares is a bit hyperbolic, though? Yes, and you're going to have to exercise the social competence to understand that when I say no one cares, I don't literally mean nobody. You're just going to have to work on your end. That's work. That's homework. You're going to have to do that. It's not good. One second. Yeah.
Sounded like you were on a roll.
On a roll. Ugh. He threw a cat? That wasn't a cat. That was a towel. Whatever. 100,000 people flooded the streets of Boston. People care. You're gonna piss me off. And I promised earlier that I wouldn't flippantly ban people, but don't test me on that because I have no principles and I will shift on that one on a dime. This isn't an opportunity for you to argue against me. We're on the same team here. I'm not your enemy. Don't argue with me on this. You know exactly what I mean. You can go Google Euromaidan if you want. I mean, if you've watched my streams for any length of time, you've covered it a bunch, so you're probably familiar with it. You understand the point that I'm making. The point is that, like, I don't understand where we go from here. I have no idea. What do you mean by where we go from here? I don't understand what, like, the mode of political action against this is. Like, if this is the norm, there won't be elections in 2026. Why would there be? You kidding me? We can just defy Supreme Court orders. Are you kidding? Like, meddling with state-run elections, that's child's play compared to this. You know? So what do you know, it seems like eventually you just run up against the line of, like, you know, either a big happening happens or you just wait for the internal contradictions to mount. And it's still possible, by the way, that, like, the economy that holds this together, because again, remember, everything that's happening right now is happening with the permission of the oligarchs, right? It's possible that, you know, enough turmoil takes place, unhappiness, whatever, that they ease up. They're forced to ease up. It's possible. But if they did that, they could just do all of this again, right? Like, you know, that's not really a solution. If they eased up, like, so does it need to be like a DEFCON 1, you know, 5-alarm fire every time, 6 months of protests, and like any time they want to defy an order? We'll never get anything done. It's not possible. Whole rest of the world looking at you like that. Yeah, no, well, you can make it an American thing. I mean, the media environment that exists here. And to foreigners who watch this, by the way, and I encourage you, if you know, don't value your mental health, you should see what American media looks like. Just look at, like, every news. I usually use AP News because they don't have a paywall up, whatever. You can look at them and Reuters. It's dickless, centrist bullshit. They can barely even, like, you know, Trump could kill a guy on Main Street. They'd be like, you know, concerns raised over allegations that Trump killed. That bullshit, right? CNN openly panders to right-wingers. The CEO literally said it. MSNBC, dickless. ABC, NBC, whatever. Nothing. And then you've got Fox News and all that. Way more attention drawn that way Incredibly partisan. Insane. So, yeah, like in that environment, Americans are pretty dumb. You know, it's bound to happen, I guess. Dickless though they may be, Trump has asked for NBC to have their broadcast license pulled yesterday. I'm sure he did. I know I saw the BBC and AP articles yesterday about what Bukele said, and it seemed slow to get to the point. Yeah, it's... Yeah. Do they even need the Insurrection Act now? Well, sure, why wouldn't they? You know? That would be the artifice. No. They're trying to pressure a US-born immigration lawyer to self-deport. Yeah, that sounds about right. Homeland Security told US-born immigration lawyer to leave country. Depart the US immediately, even though removing US citizens is illegal. Well, the law doesn't matter that much, so. Deport to where? I don't think they care. Probably, hopefully, it was sent to me in error, but it's a little concerning these are going out to US citizens. Error seems likely. Why aren't there any real pushes for impeachment? Do you have the Senate votes for it? What impeachment? You Republicans aren't going to vote to impeach. They're fine with what's happening. See, again, like, you're not going to get saved by any of these rules. Because the way the system is set up, it relies on the idea that people follow them. Won't states fight back if the federal government can't? I don't know why you're asking me. You're asking me a lot of questions. You ask a lot of questions. But what do you think they can do? Like, genuinely, what do you think they can do? You know what? Don't answer that. You're going to ask more questions. You're not going to answer it. You're going to ask more questions. I don't care. It's not very satisfying, huh? Stop recognizing the executive branch's authority. I'm muting you for that one. I use neurons to read that message. Come on. You don't have to type anything if you don't have anything to say. Holy shit, half my work just got fired and an entire department replaced with AI literally 10 minutes ago. Damn. Well, it sounds like you didn't get fired, Zigabiz. The craziest part is how no one in power is doing anything. Well, like I said, it's an ideological failing here. Right? What are you all monka gigging? There was a noise? Yeah, it sounded like somebody kicked the little door stopper. You know, the one that go boing. It's like a spring with a rubber cap. Sounds like someone outside the office did that. Those rock. It might have been one of the cats. That could have been Ruben blowing past it at like Mach 5. He loves that shit. No. Anyway, yeah, I don't know. Obviously, there's no way of knowing the future. It just kind of seems like the way the pieces are set up right now. Uh, I don't really know. You collapse from internal contradictions, right? Um, you falter, you run out of steam because the economy goes poorly. You know, the underlying systems that allow society to function at an acceptable level of efficiency, they fall apart. Or what? A sufficient level of civilian discontent would be and always will be uh enough, but we don't have it, you know? I know this may sound larpy, but this is the time to call for revolution. You're right, that did sound larpy. Mm. Yeah, but if not now, when? You've a fundamentally broken understanding of how these things develop, is all I'll say. You know? Like that's like you're on a little rock outcropping and the lava from the volcano eruption, it's like rising around you, and somebody's like, "We gotta fly out of here. Like we gotta fly with magic." And then you're like, "I don't think we can do that." And they're like, "Well, if not now, when? Like what other time would that be to do that, you know?" You have to approach these it's everyone wants a damn solution. No one knows what's going on. Certainly not the people in the administration. They're just seeing what they can get away with, which is everything. They can get away with everything. Have you seen the real ID stuff going around? You mean the uh, legal change to ID requirements for travel that have been posted for years? Have you considered blaming Democrats? Yes, I have considered that. I have done that. Will you consider leaving the country at some point? You know, I get asked that question like 500 times every stream now, and I have to say it's getting a little bit tiring. Yeah, I'll tell you what, okay? If my background changes, you'll know. You'll see you'll see it happen. I won't be able to move my house with me, will I? This isn't a green screen in Beijing. Well, don't worry about it. All right. Let me send this over. I think some chatters want reassurance on whether or not they should leave right now, with asking if you've already considered it. Of course I've considered it. But leaving isn't realistic for most people. I have more money and connections than most people watching this right now. And also, most people aren't going to be fucking sent to El Salvador, okay? I'm a political live streamer. My considerations are different. In all likelihood, you're going to be weathering a lot of turmoil, but in terms of severity, I don't know. Person to person, depends on if you're trans. It's complicated. .4chan hacked modsdoc siteisdown.edu and .gov emails got leaked as part of a moderation team. How, I say this with respect, how soup-like does your brain have to be for .edu emails being leaked as part of the moderation team being of any interest to you? Like, what does that mean? Are you, like, what is that? Apparently it's of interest to you because you included it in the message. I don't know what the implication of that is. .edu? You're telling me that there are people with student email addresses who mod for 4chan? I could have told you that yesterday. I know we all want a distraction from the state of the world right now, but respectfully, who gives a shit? Like, seriously. Are you kidding me? I'll go sit in the corner, sorry. Don't worry about it. By acknowledging your error, you've already redeemed yourself in my eyes. You're better than most of the people who annoy me in chat, who hide afterwards. New segment. Each one more depressing than the last. I'm going to read some of this article. ICE deports Venezuelan teen despite reportedly knowing he was not a target. Don't worry, we won't have to read very far. A 19-year-old Venezuelan in New York City reportedly was apprehended by Trump administration immigration authorities and deported to El Salvador despite agents realizing he was not whom they meant to arrest in a targeted operation. Miguel Gutierrez, whose family opened an asylum case after arriving in the U.S., was deported from the Bronx to the notorious CSOT prison in El Salvador despite his relatives' insistence that he has no gang ties or criminal history. According to Documented, a newsroom dedicated to telling the stories of immigrants in New York City, the Gutierrez family says it has been left without information or answers. The teen was detained alongside 237 other Venezuelans on the 24th of February by ICE. His father, Vilmar Gutierrez, told Documented, "I feel like my son was kidnapped. I've spent countless hours searching for him, going from one precinct to another, speaking with numerous people who kept referring me elsewhere. Yet after all this, no one has given me any information or provided a single document about his case." The elder Gutierrez reportedly said he overheard ICE agents saying that his son had not been the person they had come to get. Quote, "The officers grabbed him and two other boys right at the entrance to our building. One said, 'No, he's not the one,' like they were looking for someone else. But the other said, 'Take him anyway,'" he recalled. There's more to the article. That's the important part. It's actual, like, no exaggeration SS shit. Like, I understand that we use, and I think there's value in drawing parallels, right? Like, I don't think you should have to wait for a second Holocaust to happen to say, like, Israel's doing Nazi shit. Like, literal count the numbers, 6 million, then you can say it. However, with regard to, like, concerns of severity, this is straight up SS shit. It's difficult to exaggerate. Hyperbole isn't a part of this. Or Gestapo. I understand that their roles overlapped at times. It's, yeah. Yep. And the worst part, so many people will defend this shit. Yep. And I do know that the vast majority of the people who would defend this legitimately do not understand what's going on. And that is not a defense of them. There is a point past which ignorance is not an excuse. However, these people do think the Venezuelans that were swept up were Tren de Aragua terrorists. The vast majority of Republican voters. Now, obviously, the Trump administration officials, they know they're lying. But the average voter who supports this doesn't. They think that it's real. And nothing will convince them otherwise. Remember, even after the end of the Second World War, a majority of German adults who were polled had favorable views of the doctrine that they were taught under Nazi Germany. The idea that Jews caused the German defeat in the First World War, were responsible for civilizational collapse, etc., etc. And a lot of these adults who were led to believe that, they weren't even Hitlerjugend. They weren't even youth raised under Nazi Germany. They were adults when Hitler took power. Hitler took power in 1933. World War II ended in 1945. 12 years. You could be 20 when Hitler took power and 32, essentially my age, when it ended. And a majority of those adults still thought it was real. So, you know, lying is OP. That is true. It's really bad. I don't really know what's to be done about this. It seems like it's kind of the end times. A little bit. At least for now. Nothing really ever ends, right? 5 years from now, 10 years from now. Do we just need to do a complete cultural reset if/when we get out of this? That's the problem. It's never actually happened. A cultural reset isn't possible. It's never been done. Reconstruction failed. You end slavery, Jim Crow. You end Jim Crow, forced busing, segregation, whatever. Every issue just continues. It's been hundreds of years, same damn issues. The amount of effort you would have to... I mean, we're talking essentially like, you know, Mao shit. And even he failed. The modern Chinese Communist Party doesn't recognize the Mao's Cultural Revolution. They've gone back. They've gone back on it. They hearken now not to, you know, 50s and 60s reconstructed, you know, radical communism, but older imperial Chinese history. Even with that level of violence behind the cultural reset. And I mean, you can read up on it, but like, they were essentially going up to 19-year-old Twitter tankies, giving them a gun and a badge and saying, if anyone says anything revisionist, there's a ditch to fill with their body. They went really hard on that, and it still didn't work. So, I don't know. I just have this like sinking feeling that no matter what happens for the rest of my life, when I'm an old man, there will still be around 80 to 100 million people who think that all of these people sent to CSOT were Tren de Aragua terrorists. And nothing anyone can say could convince them otherwise. You kind of just have to live with that. I would love it if I could live. That would be nice if I could live. We'll see if they have any other plans. Doesn't end there, by the way. This is from just 2 hours ago.
There are laws on the books that make it a criminal offense to shield or harbor illegal immigrants, like the sanctuary state city leaders have been doing. Do you think they should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law and possibly put in prison?
Absolutely. And hold tight on that one, because it's coming. It's coming. I've been clearing that since day one. The sanctuary city can sit by and watch their communities get ravaged by illegal aliens. They can watch young women get raped and murdered. Trump administration is not going to stand for that.
So the explicit statement here, for those who didn't catch it, was that the administration intends to arrest Democratic officials if they had any hand in the policy surrounding sanctuary cities or sanctuary states. So that's when the country will truly be over. Yeah, I guess. But like, follow up on that, not to be too depressive about it, but who would do anything about it? Like, I mean, what like realistically, what? I think the best case scenario, if something like that happens, is that it spooks Wall Street so badly that it actually starts to cripple America economically. Because a lot of the people who are just kind of riding the wave genuinely believe the nothing ever happens memes, right? That's the median American. The median American is like, this happens, that guy gets elected, this policy happens, whatever, man. My sports team keeps losing, housing prices keep going up, it's all the same shit, If something that overt happened, it's possible that, because it's not like the country is 80 million like devout fascists, right? Some number of millions, but not 80 million. It's possible that a lot of them just get spooked so badly that it just destabilizes. That's the hope. It's not like it's not like any direct counteraction would do anything at this point, right? I mean, what could they... Wall Street is so retarded they thought Trump wouldn't put tariffs on despite campaigning for tariffs for a year. No. I agree that they're stupid. I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying that, like, there is a deliberate irrationality here, right? If fascists conducted their affairs rationally, they couldn't be fascists. It's not possible. There is a juncture there. There's like a contrary... The people might be spooked by the irrationality. Because there is, and I'm not trying to do this like, well, if I was the leader or whatever kind of thing, because people love that, everyone with their goddamn, EU for whatever saves has an opinion on this. But if you wanted to like carefully and methodically take over a country without spooking people, especially the United States where voters are pretty apathetic and pretty easy to manipulate, you could do it. It wouldn't be that hard, honestly, as long as you had like control of all three branches of government, which they do. The Trump administration is doing stuff that spooks people because they're idiots and largely incompetent. You don't have to be competent to be powerful. Like, look at history. It's not the case. People like the counter examples are the rarities. People like Napoleon, undeniably competent, right? He had his fun. Whoopee! Took over half of Europe or whatever. Then he's out. Okay, sure. He was competent. Great. Washington, pretty competent general. Okay. You take a look at most of history. I mean, fuck, even some of the other founding fathers, right? Adams or whatever. You look, overwhelmingly competence and power are just not concurrent forces. So I guess the hope is that people get spooked. I don't know. That's the hope. Because I don't know what else is going to change things. Do you think other countries can help? Well, like by doing what? What do you think they're going to do? Invade? Intervene in U.S. soil? Martial law would spook people? Yeah. Martial law would spook people. 5 days, by the way. We'll see. Be a safe harbor for refugees? Well, sure, but a lot of them already are to an extent. Hmm. Is it actually happening, though? Nobody knows. Have you been given any reason to be optimistic about the direction this administration is taking the country? I don't feel optimistic. Maybe they don't recommend martial law. Okay. I will not feel silly for having worried. Yeah, 1 second. If they don't enact martial law, the good thing is that it won't get worse. You are very wrong on that. What Tom Homan's talking about here wouldn't require martial law. They can do anything they want. Keep that in mind. They can do anything they want. Do the generals who swore an oath on the Constitution just not care about honoring that shit? Well, they did replace a lot of the top brass over at the Pentagon. Ryan, you reminded me that I forgot to upload it. Thank you. Got 1 hour of sleep. Forgive me. All right, being sent now. The United States just closed so many embassies and consulates in Europe, Asia, and Africa. That's not great. Wow, that just happened. The complete withdrawal from the rest of the world just happened right behind me, didn't it? That's not good. Looking at closing nearly 30 overseas embassies and consulates. Well, still. Why is that bad? It implies a lot of negative things. None of this makes sense unless you assume Trump works for Russia. Trump is obviously compromised by Russia, but I think it's important to understand that Russia is the way it is because of a set of material conditions that people like Trump simply want to replicate. Russia is a fascist pariah state where the oligarchs have essentially unlimited power and everyone else is effectively a peasant. There are a lot of people who find that form of government, desirable. By a lot of people, I mean like a few really wealthy people. Hold on, addressing is something I saw in YouTube chat. Might have to stop watching Vosh soon. I mean, every stream is just there is no hope and nothing can change. You're not watching me with a critical ear, and you need to work on that. Critical thinking, hearing, these are important skills. Listen, my words are just a medium through which I'm trying to convey my thoughts to your brain, but there's an interpretive wall, and it's in your skull. I'm not saying nothing changes, and I'm not saying there's no hope. The immediate future looks pretty bleak. But I think that's a fair assessment. I don't think that's me being pessimistic. I just think I see dark storm clouds ahead. I think you do too. But nothing ever ends, really. And things change all the time. And it's complicated. And for better or for worse, the world is going to look very different 6 months from now than it does today. You used to yell at chat for dooming, now you are. Now, so-so. I said I wouldn't ban people, but you worked hard for this one, bucko. I hate the doomer allegations, or accusations, I should say. I do. I think that doomering is unproductive. I think that I am literally just talking about the world. I've seen what dooming looks like in other people. I don't think it's an accurate description. I know it's like people say a gooner is like a person who likes sex now. Like every word eventually becomes a Flanderization of itself until nothing means anything. I understand this, but I do resent that one in particular. I know it's difficult to perceive given how bad the news has been, but I put a lot of effort into maintaining what I would consider to be a level tone. And it's been nonstop, man, ever since the election, from election night and onward. You know, I think it takes a decent amount of discipline's not the right word. I don't know, temperance to relay. Yeah, it's the doomer thing particularly bugs me, you know. Did you see the new Baldur's Gate 3 patch? New content for the game? Finally, some news I'm happy to hear about. Can you define doomer? When I say doomer, what I mean is a person is being unconstructively pessimistic. Like they are more interested in signaling an emotional state of despair, there's no hope, whatever, than they are in describing what's happening or trying to provide any kind of understanding of the world. It's done at the expense of understanding the situation, which I don't think I do. I feel like, unfortunately, I feel like what's happening right now is in line with the most pessimistic predictions that I've had for what could happen if Trump wins. I think it's in line more or less with, you know, a material understanding of the situation. But that's a great definition, but I don't think it's how most people use it. Yeah, but most people don't use words good. Right? You have to, I'm just trying to further understanding of the meaning of the word, right? Like I'm trying to describe an idea here. You know, there's like the gooning thing too. People will say you're a gooner to literally, like, you like seeing a woman's cleavage, you're a gooner. What are you talking about? Everyone does. What are you talking about right now? Gooner, that's a specific fetish. It's a fetish for being a porn addict. And over the course of like 2 years, it's gone from that to any person with any sexual impulse. It's ridiculous. And now it doesn't mean anything. You know, it is annoying. Have you spoke about the 4chan stuff? Yes, I said, who fucking cares? I think was more or less, in so many words, that's what I said. Just can't imagine being entertained by something like that right now. Are they going to use martial law to put American citizens in camps? Sure. I just checked the future. Yeah, it could happen. One last one before we talk to PV. Do you not view the major hands-off protests and fight the oligarchy tours as meaningful resistance? Kane 111th. You are spared for naivete today. Dude, it's just a question. Lily Crumb, you are not spared. That's not the first time I've noticed your name in chat today. Still pretty sharp up here despite the headache, okay? I'm paying attention. You know, if there's anyone more annoying than people saying shit like, you think there's no pushback? Well, did you take a look at the candlelight vigil they held in memory of the dreams of the founding fathers? It's the person who fucking jumps down your throat for being snarky about the first one. 7 days was a bit mean, but, you know, there are worse things going on right now. See, now we've capped the lid off. Now I want to ban like 5 of you for being annoying. I'll resist. Here, look. A little bit of good news. There are institutions that the Trump administration can't go after as readily, largely because they represent a base of support that is more powerful than just like the raw numerical dissatisfaction of a Democratic constituency, right? Harvard is a big institution with a lot of money, a lot of power, and a lot of connections. You know? And Harvard has rejected, they've said no to essentially an extortionary demand by the Trump administration, demanding that they, I don't know, mulch all pro-Palestinian protesters. I believe the Trump administration had a laundry list of demands, one of which I believe was almost literally like give preferential treatment to conservative applicants or something like that. Like, don't bias your acceptance on a person's gender or race or anything like that, because that's bigoted. But a person with conservative political views, as a real minority, you know, a real member of the you know, disprivileged class, they should be allowed in on a lower standard. Updated list of demands. Ugh. Recruitment, screening, and admissions of international students. Prevent admitting students hostile to American values. Abolish all criteria, preferences, practices that function as ideological litmus tests. Every department or field found to lack viewpoint diversity must be reformed by hiring a critical mass of new faculty within that department who will provide viewpoint diversity. Actual DEI, yeah. Look at how long these are. Jesus Christ. Anyway, it's insane. So Harvard rejected it. Trump is threatening both to remove their federal endowment and also to classify them as a different entity under the tax code, as a political entity. Obviously, right now they're taxed as a, you know, educational entity, but you know, they're battling over it. Yeah. I don't know. It's pretty bad. I have to say I am happy that Harvard and MIT are pushing back. I don't know how much it's going to mean in the long run. Well, I mean, AP News says that Harvard is uniquely equipped to push back. I think there's hope. Insiders inside the Senate say some Republicans are willing to back an impeachment, and a growing number are willing to cross party lines to try and check him politically, or at least try to. It means nothing to me. Frankly, I can't even speak on that. It makes me angry that you even said that. What, a conditional veto? A tiptoe over the line? This was too far? They're all complicit. How did Inglourious Bastards end again? You're going to get to that nice island and take off that purdy uniform of yours? They all let us here. Schumer, too. Already, Harvard's refusal appears to be emboldening other institutions. After initially agreeing to several demands from the Trump administration, Columbia University's acting president took a more defiant tone in a campus message Monday, saying some of the demands are not subject to negotiation. I hate you, and shut the fuck up. You fucking collaborationist pieces of shit. In her statement, Claire Shipman said she read of Harvard's rejection with great interest. Trump threatened Tuesday to escalate the dispute, suggesting on social media that Harvard should lose its tax-exempt status, quote, if it keeps pushing political, ideological, and terrorist-inspired / supporting sickness. Doesn't this actually hurt scientific and medical research, lol? Are you aware of the fact that the Secretary of the Department of Health and Human Services is an anti-vaxxer? Oh. AP News is even like both sidesing this topic, man. We need to bring back real partisanship in media. Good partisanship. It is crazy how like the pretext, the base argument for the downfall of this country is quite literally like you need to swear fealty to Israel. And that is the one exception to the First Amendment. That's literally like the argument made by the Trump administration. Like, the First Amendment's great and all, but like also you need to never criticize Israel. That's not even an exaggeration. They're deporting Mahmoud Khalil for criticizing Israel. It's like, Jesus Christ. Can you see somewhere how many international students are applying for next semester? I don't know if that information is available or public or whatever else, but I can guarantee you the number is going to be lower. International travel is plummeting right now into the United States, of course. And the official line, the publicly, like not implication, stated position of the Trump administration is that if you are here on a student visa, you can be removed at any time for any expression of opinion that contradicts the interests of American foreign policy. That's like the... Also, you might be sent to Venezuela. Sorry, not Venezuela. You might be sent to El Salvador. How long can I, as a whitey, criticize Israel until I get deported? Dog, they're doing it to whiteys too. I mean, if you're here, if you're not a citizen, at least, like they're holding everyone down, man. This is not a like only black guys are getting. They are mostly going after Venezuelans right now because that's the pretext for the Tren de Aragua thing. But in terms of the Israel thing, they're doing it to everyone. They're going to do it to citizens. This isn't one of those like, oh, well, I'm a white guy and because the administration is racist, you know, I'll be fine. It's not. Jesus. Canadian universities report jump in U.S. applicants as Trump cuts funding. Yeah, that makes sense. That sounds about right. Visa cancellations sow panic for international students, with hundreds fearing deportation. More than hundreds. Look at this, man. Hundreds of students have been calling to say they've lost legal status. It wasn't just Mahmoud Khalil. You know this has been going on. Like, they're still doing this. They're not just going after one guy, two guy, whatever. Like, they're waves. Waves and waves. We thought it was going to be something that was unusual, said Matthew Mayona, a Boston-based immigration attorney who's getting about 6 calls a day from panicked international students. But it seems now like it's coming pretty fast and furious. I haven't seen that movie. Students apparently targeted over minor infractions. Four students from 2 Michigan universities are suing Trump administration officials after their F1 student status was terminated last week. The attorney with the ACLU said the students never received a clear reason why. We don't know, and that's the scary part. They literally just don't know. They were informed of the status terminations by their universities via email, which came as a shock. Bet you anything that the reason they got terminated is because there's some, like, fucking APAC correspondent liaison with the university, something like that. And they're like taking notes. They've been doing this since October 7th. Yeah, the Canary Mission. Yeah. There's like multiple orgs, and they literally like go university to university, like taking notes on who's anti-Israel. In a break from the past, feds cancel student status directly. As many as 1,300 students. Jesus. A PhD student from China at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill said she has been carrying around her passport and immigration paperwork at the advice of the university's International Student Office. The student, who spoke on condition of anonymity for fear of being targeted by authorities, said she had been distressed to see the terminations even for students like her without criminal records. That's the most scary part, because you don't know whether you're going to be the next person, she said. It's happening, man. It's happening. They're going to collapse the fucking country. It's not 1930s Germany. We're an international country. I have an appointment. Dentist? No, Progressive Victory. Benjamin, I'm surprised you don't know. That's interesting. Discord has decided to put your audio out through my external speakers. I have no idea why it's done this. Let me fix it. Okay, that should work now.
Hello? Does that work now?
Yes, it does. And normally I would be so much more civil than this, and I think there's plenty of examples that I could point to in the past, but my head is about to explode. So, respectfully, would you mind if I gave an introduction of why we're about to talk, and then you can give your pitch?
Oh, absolutely. Go ahead.
Yeah. And people will be, it boosts numbers too, because people will be amused by the novelty of me being curt when I'm usually not. I talked about this a little bit ago on stream. In North Carolina, there is a transparent effort by the the state Republican Party, to overturn the results of a judicial election in which a Democrat won by an extremely small margin. There was recently a ruling saying that while the efforts to overturn about 60,000 votes within the state would not be allowed to go through, they are, in fact, overturning and thus forcing a resubmission of the votes of people outside the state of North Carolina. So soldiers abroad, children of those soldiers, anyone who's registered in North Carolina who is not actually within the state. Now, the reason this is an issue is that the Democrat who now sits on the Supreme Court, though the result of the election hasn't been certified, of course, because this ongoing dispute over the validity of the election, the Democrat won by like 700 votes. The number of votes that are looking to be cured is something in the ballpark of 5,000. I'm sure I'll get corrected on that number soon. The Republicans are trying to overturn the results, essentially. And since the votes that are going to be cured, it's going out to, some few thousand people, the Republicans are going to be sending texts, emails, calls out to every single one of them. Hey, it's time to resubmit that vote. And don't you want to submit it red? And that is what Progressive Victory is trying to stop. The transparent theft of an election. There's no ambiguity, by the way, that this is like sore loser bullshit. It's not like a, procedure works out as it does. North Carolina, it was a coin flip, They know what they're doing. So please introduce yourself and explain to these fine people how they can prevent Republicans from stealing an election again.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy that they just do the same thing over and over again, and then they just assume nobody's going to do anything in response. So I'm Octavian. I am the Midwest Coalition lead for PV, and I've really delved probably way too deep for a normal person who doesn't live in North Carolina about this. And so, you got basically everything. The one thing I want to make sure everybody here knows is that, currently PV has researched the most amount of people to get their phone numbers so that we can call them, right? So think about this, right? In the entirety of the United States right now, all the Democrats are looking for something to do, right? And the group that is doing the most to do stuff right now is Progressive Victory, right? It's this community, it's this group, right? And so when everybody's like, oh my God, there's not really anything to do. No, this is it right here. Because they're trying to take away our votes, our democracy, even when we already did it, right? And when we are seeing, people getting deported, the economy crashing, all this dumb stuff that these Republicans are doing, paid fascists, and we have one thing we can do. We have something here that is very easy to do. All you have to do is either research what somebody's phone number is or social media is, which we will train you on how to do that, or after we're done getting all these people and the State Board of Elections tells us, hey, what's the thing that you need to do and what you need to send in, which, by the way, just to let you know, the 30 days has started and they still haven't told us what you have to send in yet. They're doing that tomorrow. They haven't even started yet. So we have to wait till tomorrow to actually start calling people. But right now we can research what their phone number is, what their, Facebook is, what all these things is. So when somebody is reaching out to them, we can do that. And also keep in mind with this 30 days is it's probably going to be something where you have to send something physically in to an office in a county, right? And these people live around the world, right? It's probably going to take more than, I don't know, a couple hours to send international mail, So what we really want to do is just have people in this community do something, right? If you have time, literally whenever. I've seen somebody in these calls in this Discord just grinding out people on an Excel spreadsheet for the last 24 hours. There's been people in there all the day. Now, I haven't been awake the whole time, so I had to get somebody to check with me if it was 4 a.m. or not. But they have confirmed that they were in there. So, which I wouldn't do. But we've had people grinding out. There's a leaderboard if you are crazy competitive and you want to do stuff. This is also how I know that PV is doing the most, and by far the most out of any other group. If not, we're basically the only ones trying to defend democracy right now.
I'd like to add on to this, if I may, very quickly.
Yeah, absolutely.
In the past few streams, I've been giving a lot of "it's so over" talk, and I stand by it, but I want to clarify what I mean by that. What I mean is that we are entering a period of relative non-resistance on an institutional level to the Republicans. What I don't think the Republicans are going to be able to do is completely suppress political resistance in this country. The idea of the Republicans managing to make 100 million Democrats or whatever, not that, but, you know, the idea that the opposition could be suppressed that thoroughly, I don't believe it for a moment. I think that's a ridiculous thing to assume they're capable of doing. I don't think anyone could do that, no matter how dictatorial. I don't think they didn't do it in Hungary. They couldn't do it in Russia. You know, you have to do North Korea level shit, and we're not even remotely close to that. The reason it's so important to get involved in stuff like this is because eventually the conditions for the collapse of this regime will emerge. It could happen next year. It could happen next month. It could happen 5 years from now. And stuff like this forms the bedrock for that action when it happens. You have to preserve civil engagement, because if you don't, who's around when the opportunity presents itself? No one is. You have to keep engaging. Now, the Trump administration isn't going to be going after every phone banker, every canvasser. I don't think you need to worry about that at all, okay? What I think you need to worry about is when the Trump administration starts to trip over itself, popularity declines further, economy stumbles, it gets worse and worse and worse for them. They're less capable of doing the things they want to. This is the early blitz. What happens a year from now? What you need to be worried about is, where will you be when that opportunity presents itself? This is but a cornerstone in that process. If they get away with this, they'll get away with more in the future. If they don't get away with this, we'll be able to keep them from getting away with more in the future. That's all. I just want it, like, momentum builds. It's very important. There's never a reason to disengage.
If you remember, I think you were early on the stream, you talked about Ukraine, right? Mm-hmm. Like, before they had Euromaidan, they had 2000 and 2008, right? They had like things where the government had to respond to the people and they had to do something. But then at some point, the government had done something so crazy and the people had so much on the ground effort that they had to respond. He had to leave. The fascists had to flee. Right. And when you're on the ground doing stuff, when you're calling people, when you're trying to defend your own vote from being taken away, right, that's the people who we will be looking to. Right. They'll be looking to us for us to change stuff. Right. Instead of random institutional liberals. Right. Or, well, random institutional liberals doing nothing. They'll be looking for people to do something. Right. And we want to be those people. We want people to be like, oh, who's going to do something to fight this literal guy who's so stupid he's crashing the economy while saying he's saving it, or as evil, whichever one you want to believe. And they'll be like, okay, well, who's going to do stuff? Well, Progressive Victory is doing stuff. We're doing stuff with literal minimal money, only a random community coming out to help us. Like, we are literally on a shoestring budget, and we're doing more than most Democratic parties locally. Right? If not like most elections, period. And so like whatever you can do to help, whether it's like your time, like if you want to donate to help out other people, give their time. If you want to literally do anything to help out, like it is so much, I cannot explain how effective it is
also
by doing this.
And I've pitched this before, but I do think it's very important to remind people. It is deleterious to your mental health to engage consistently with negative political news while not doing anything about it, you know? I mean, even people who, you know, the homelessness crisis in America is getting worse with time, yes, but there are people who go out there and volunteer at soup kitchens and they do feel better after they do so. Encountering the problem is not good for you if you're not part of the solution. You all watch me, that's why you're able to hear me right now. I hope you're doing something with that. I mean, I stream, right? That's my engagement, you know? I don't go outside beyond that. I do my civil service. This is my community service time, talking to you people. But a lot of you turn off the stream and then you do what? You play video games? You might be playing them right now. I just know a lot of you people are suffering from the adverse mental health effects of engaging with a lot of really negative stuff and not doing anything with it. I've only gotten positive reports from people who have done this, okay? Put some work in. Just check out the link. It's good.
Yeah, like keep in mind, remember what just happened, right? Remember, like at the start when like Trump and Elon Musk were like buddy buddy, they're like tight, right? Elon Musk loses one election, gets logged by the entirety of the progressive wing in one state. Progressive Victory was there as one of the biggest groups of people knocking doors in that state, right? People around you were the ones doing that to kick Elon Musk basically out of government, and now everybody hates him, right? So keep that. There's already stuff that you see has already changed what the Trump administration can do by people on the ground doing stuff, right? So imagine what the next thing would be. Imagine the next person that has to get kicked out, the next person that has to go, the next thing they have to drop, right? And every single inch that we get is another inch that we get to defend our democracy, right? That's like what I mean. That's what we fight for, right?
Yeah.
Why would we fight for anything else?
And the fact that a bad result in the Michigan Supreme Court election could essentially, pull somebody like Elon Musk from his throne. Just there are consequences even for them. Not as many as there should be, but there are consequences. I need to go through donos because I've been putting it off for a while and my head is killing me. Is there anything that you'd like to add on that we've forgotten to address thus far before departing?
No, this has been a great stream. Just like figure out what's going on. And if people are just watching Vosh, right? People are just doing something, just relaxing, right? If you're playing that video game and you're like, man, just like you said, you're playing that video game, maybe, I don't know what else you would be doing. Okay. Think about this. All you have to do is edit a cell on a spreadsheet or call somebody randomly, right? It's not like it's that much work. And the other thing that you can do, right, is if you are like, man, I really don't have time. I really have to like do stuff at work. I don't have time. There are other people who don't have the money to or time themselves to do stuff like this. They don't have that. And if you could donate to help those people give their time, right, that would be another thing that we would want people to do. You get a cool card in the mail if you donate, and you get to do a bunch of cool stuff as well, like talk to people higher up in PV, make sure that you get to go to exclusive events, stuff like this where, like, from my perspective, if you're helping out somebody else doing it, it's just as good as doing it yourself. Because keep in mind, if you're in that soup kitchen, right, the people who give the soup to the soup kitchen are also people who are important, right? Just as people who are helping give the soup kitchen out, right?
PV maintains a ruthless caste hierarchy, and your soul won't make it to heaven unless you're up in the upper tiers, is what my friend here is saying, and of course, it's true.
I cannot deny these allegations. There may be members of the chat, for example, that may be I don't know how to explain this, a higher tier of person, maybe. I'm not, maybe there might be some confirming or denying it. These are things that I've heard, but I don't know. But yeah, there's not really anything else I have to say. Thanks for having me on.
I appreciate
people
you
in the
taking
chat,
the time. And I have
listening.
every confidence that we're going to win this.
Yeah, absolutely. All right.
Take
Have
care.
a good one.
In all likelihood, I'm not going to have a good one, but I appreciate the sentiment. The soup kitchen as evidence feeding people helps. I'd like to see stats on the effectiveness of phone calls changing political views. Vorg, you misunderstand. It's not about changing political views. It's about mobilizing people who already agree with you to vote. Much more effective. In some rare instances, you can change people's minds by canvassing or phone banking, but that's a 1%, fraction of a percent. What it's really about is just getting people out there. That's the effective part. That's the important part. And it works. My head is screaming at me to not read donations, but I've put it off for 3 days now. Soli, thank you for the tier 2 sub. Crowholes1, thank you for the tier 1 sub. Really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. Sexed Dropout and 3 Fat Samurai, thank you for the $5 both. Really appreciate that. Some more news also correctly called out trad wives as a kink. It's true. It is true, and I'm tired of having that degenerate lifestyle shoved in my face. 3 Fat Samurai, thank you for showing me your beautiful bug. So named in the Benjamin. Knew there was a reason I decided to do those. Misgender Lynn, thank you for the tier 2 sub. Really appreciate that. SamFan155, thank you for the 15 bucks. Very, very kind of you. I really appreciate that. King Jar Jerk and Selveball, thank you for the $5 both. Very kind. Nothing special, but I found a bunch of handsome socks on clearance and got like 7 pairs for 12 bucks. Nice. And those do look nice. Absolutely. Yeah, it's good to have. For me on my like sock, the sock like hierarchy, you've 1 or 2 pairs of no-show socks for loafers. You have a bunch of crew socks, especially ones that have these stripes, because I love vertically striped crew socks. You have a few wool boot socks. Usually they look like this or this. And then you have a few dress socks. That would be the ideal for me. But I don't own any dress socks. I'd like to. Remember, folks, if you're wearing a suit or dress socks, they should come up over the calf. You don't want to show any of your leg when you sit down. Very important. Dream Canoe, Space Queer, and the Amazing JLP, thank you for the tier 1 subs all. I really appreciate that. Is that so, Benjamin? The Ghost Ship, thank you for the $5. Jack DeBruce, thank you for the $10. IDEB's just announced to do Content Cop in 4 days. It's gotta be Klein, right? It's gotta be Klein. Slam Bean, thank you for the 6 tier 1 subs. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Longtime lurker, and my second monitor has been extra cozy with your recent coverage of the Trumpetman. Keep on keeping on. Thank you. I don't find it all very cozy, but I'm happy that you do. Sorry, my head hurts. Could be Asmongold as well. Thank you. Spaghetti Dealer, thank you for the $10. Potato, I agree. SamFan155, thank you for the $20. Donaldus Trumpeldor defied court and won't bring back the innocent man protest time. I'll read it out loud, but you can't get me to respond to it. Cheeky Count and Apathy, thank you for the $5 both. No optional message, just love. Thank you. I'm sure it sucks having everyone ask you, how do I survive the next Reich, when you have to live in this shit like the rest of us. It is true, and people do often forget. Like, dog. Like, think about where I'm at. You know? Wait, what? I'm just a guy. I don't have any special knowledge on that subject. Pandagal, thank you for the 2 tier 1 subs. I really appreciate that. Brainstorm Pictures, thank you for the $10. Really appreciate that as well. Taiga and Fungi Fior, thank you for the $15 both. I really appreciate those, obviously. Go get yourself a coffee and ibuprofen. I had 4 cups of coffee before stream, and I've had plenty of Excedrin. Don't you worry. Thank you, thank you. Oh, to any who care, I completed my Malachi Makaisen campaign on Very Hard, Total War Warhammer 3. Got the long victory. Pretty good campaign. Only got bored the last dozen turns. It was a good campaign. Only got bored the last dozen. I bounced around a few campaign starts, and I think I found the one that I want to do next. I want to play Nurgle. I'm going to do the main Nurgle faction. I forget his name. The main one. I think that'll be the next one. Hard econ? Yeah, I get that feeling. Not a lot of like econ building, but like the Nurgle army is so strong. You know? Like all the healing and the debuffs and yeah, the stinky. Do you think you could stream it? It's a game I play for my enjoyment. You know, I want to take it as I go. Also, dude, the fucking hex moths or whatever they're called that you start with the 300 favor upkeep suck so much. They're so useless. What the fuck? They do less damage than a regular normal plague bearer fucking troop, like a regular tier 1 infantry unit, and they're like a tier 4 or something. What the fuck? I don't know if I'm missing something with them. It feels like they do literally nothing. I don't know. Gimmick unit? Well, maybe there's a use. No. That's what I'm saying is shit, Tosberg. The one with the ranged attack. Might be a player trap, I don't know. Yeah, it's sometimes like that, you know. There are like units in a faction that are sometimes worthless. You know, the war cart or whatever it's called. For the Empire. I'm not building that shit. Cyphernal, Hersbird, and Flobirig123. Thank you for the tier 1 subs. Really appreciate those. Yuya, thank you for the $5. How much did your education contribute to your stances? A lot of people say this. The social experience of attending university was good for me. The actual lessons in class did not do much for me. But you learn the mechanics of researching? Yeah, I guess. Sake said yesterday, with the 5 tier 1 subs, what if you read fashion segments and did donos tomorrow? Already on it, bucko. Already on it. CW Wash, thank you for the $12. Thanks for covering all the stuff happening. Also, rice and beans. Rice cookers are so goated. Yes, they are. Also, looking good. Don't splash anything on that laptop. Will you play No More Heroes? There's a cat that has the voice of a black guy that you can pet in it. I'm a little bit curious what about me made you think that that pitch would mean anything to me. Like if you're projecting some kind of psychosexual dynamic. Buzz, I'm happy to hear that you had a good time at the Idaho Bernie rally the other day. The oligarchy rally. It was poppin'. Gort, thanks to the tier 1 sub. Really appreciate that. 3 Fat Samurai, thank you for your cat tax. Baby. Shrimp. Sovball, thank you for the $5. 3 Fat Samurai, thank you for the $5 and the additional cat tax. Wah. Stewart after I got him. He's a noodle. No kidding. Existentialist Dork, thank you for the $10. Didn't mean to stress you out with the exile question. Sorry. It's fine, and I understand why people are saying it. I promise you that it's a feature of conversations I'm having with people in my day-to-day life. It's just that past a point, you must assume that I already know, right? Like, you can't think that you're the first person to have thought of that when I'm talking about it about other people. Vosh would never play Baldur's Gate 3. It's a woke game. I beat it on honor mode, motherfucker. Main Farmer, thank you for the $50. Really appreciate that. I hope this little bit helps you. Hopefully have a good one at some point in the near future. Money does help. Thank you. I really appreciate that. That's very, very kind of you. SamFan155, thank you for the $10. How's the weather? Weather's wonderful today in Seattle. Absolutely beautiful day. Mount Rainier is very clear in the distance. Kowalski from Nebraska, thank you for the incredibly kind tier 4 sub. The American Republic is at war with the American Empire. The Empire's winning. Our existence is defiance. Long live the Republic, down with oligarchy. That's true. I think. Yes. Yes, I agree. We'll say so. How does he feel having the hardest job imaginable being a streamer? Well, I get compensated fairly. Just fairly. For my labor. Fatface, thanks the 10 bucks. Here's 10 AUD because USD is worthless. I'm very sorry to say, but you paid me 10 USD, not 10 AUD. The currency conversion assures that. So I don't know what that is equivalent in AUD, but that's 10 USD right there. Gaming streams off till the Walls 2028 Revolution. Was hoping for BG3 Vosh someday. I've beaten BG3 to my satisfaction. No, game streams aren't off. I just, you know that even if I did a gaming stream right now, like literally every message in chat would be like, hey, update, Tom Homan just said that they're going to start arresting peaceful protesters and deporting them. Hey, update, did you know like Carolyn Levitt said, like it literally like every fucking message. It's fine, nuts. It'd be on my mind too. Inavash 255, thank you for the $5. I really appreciate the kind words. I do enjoy streaming when I don't have a headache. Okay, that's the site. Donos. Let me catch up on super chats. Can't forget super chats. Super chats are very important, and I have to go back 3 streams. There we go. The Blazers fan too. Thank you for the 5 Canadian. Yeah, Mark Carney's comment on Israel committing a genocide was pretty funny. Relentless Profanity and Red Baron, thank you for the $2 and euros. Germans are alright, Chilvosh. I see what they've done. And with the 5 euros, what increases trust in society? Unironically, a lack of right-wing media. Genuinely. You can link like social distrust in America almost like 1-to-1 to that. It's like it's incredible how direct it is. Literally just like it's a plague. It's a social plague. It's deleterious to our minds. Arcane Spaghetti and George Lucas, thank you for the $5 both. Used to have a machining job in PA, 12 bucks an hour, standing all day, manual plate setting, constantly dirty. 5,000 parts a day. I'm 26 with carpal tunnel. Damn. I'm really sorry to hear that. I hope workers' comp helps with that a little bit. Terminal Sandy with the 10 bucks. The BlackRock CEO was slamming the tariffs. You've got to wonder how many CEOs took Trump into a dark room and gave him the "you've meddled with the primal forces of nature, Mr. Trump" network speech. They are unhappy, but I don't think they're... I think most of them are delusional. Flop Bingus Republic, Hillel Finder, Diego B, and Endeavors DNB. Thank you for the $5 all. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Gun Invalid, thank you for the $2. My gay idiot tax. That shit's facts. Oh, fuck. You know, ever since I got a nice pillow, I get headaches much less often than I used to. So I'm not that upset when I get headaches as now, because it used to be like quite common, and now it's much less common. So I still have a lot to be thankful for. Doesn't make it hurt any less though. Stephanie V, congratulations on getting a new kitty. Thank you for the $2. Andrew Leisure and I'm Fine, thank you for the $5 both. Really appreciate that. Halivar, thank you for the $25. That's really kind of you. Thanks so much. Aside from politics, you've mentioned so many small life things that help me start to build good habits and help me start to understand fashion. You made it easy. Now Buck Mason takes my money. I'm really happy to hear that. Buck Mason does legitimately make really good stuff. They do. Yeah, it's just nice to be you know, another chatter falls. That's true. You sure they're not migraines? I don't get migraines. I don't know if I ever have. Always at the back of my neck. Tension headache every time. That's why I get the tension headache Excedrin, which I'll take more of. Northern Lion is very funny, Skynet. Is the jug plastic or glass? Plastic. Flop Bingus Republic and Andrew Mogeson, thank you for the $5 and euros both. I really appreciate those. Taijirai, thank you for the $10. Thank you very much. Questionable Absanity, thank you for the £5. TL Griffith, thank you for the $10. Ethical Consumption, paying only interest, not principal, no pun. I don't know what you mean, but I agree with you on principle. Snorcore, Diego B, Clayton Growth, and Still Alive, thank you for the $5 all. I really appreciate that. KO Surge, thank you for the $2. Stephanie V, Vincent Ciravo, Ants, and GK, thank you for the $5 all. Very kind of you, and I really appreciate it. I don't know. Thank you for the $1. The Blazers fan, thank you for the $5. Blue Nexus, thank you for the $10. Here's my weekly thumbs up to you from the $1 trillion budget and raise. Still, they won't fund DFAC, though. We'll see what version of the bill gets passed through. Robert Field, Galactic Moth, Bean Barrage, Laura Dana 22, and Victoria's Gardenosaurus, thank you for the $5 all. My goodness, that's so kind of you. I really appreciate that. Started watching you because my sis said I talk like you. I agree with her. I only wish I could change your mind about the apathy of voters. Well, I don't know in which direction you agree or disagree. People aren't naturally like this. You know, it's not an essentialist thing. There are people in countries for whom the government does nothing, who are still very invested in their governance, right? The apathy in this country is constructed. What's next? I understand this is a constitutional crisis, but do legal remedies exist? No, not really. Nibs, thank you for the $5. Thank you. David Henley, thank you for the $10. They say, ah. That is all. I agree completely. Laura Dana 22, thank you for the $9.99 RON, whatever currency that is. Victorious Gardenosaurus and Akumatenchi, thank you for the $5 both. Still Alive, thank you for the 2. H-Self, thank you for the 5 as well. That shirt is nice. This is from last stream. What shirt did I wear last stream? I don't know. I'm wearing a sweatshirt now. Very fond of it. Vintage. I don't know how vintage. I just got it from a vintage clothing store. Polo Ralph Lauren sweatshirt in a nice boxy cut. Got it over another. It was the Anchor shirt? Ah, yes. That is a good shirt. Got that dowel in him. Exactly. You know what the shame is about a sweatshirt that's this old, though? The ribbing on the base is no longer capable of being tight enough to really meaningfully hold it in place. Like, I move a little bit and it comes down. You know what I mean? Like, it's not elastic, it's just the construction of the fabric is loose enough now. So it's just like a nice, loose, cropped fit. Well, it's not elastic, it's just the way the cotton is. H-Self, thank you for the $5. Galactic Moth, thank you for the 10. Anyone else wonder if martial law will be implemented on 420? Yeah, maybe. Tyler the Veganator, thank you for the $10. Why don't you debate vegan gains on the Israel-Palestine conflict? I asked him if he'd be down. He tells me he tried to, but you ghosted him on it. Didn't he email me and I just said no? Is that ghosting? Why would I do that? Did I not say no? I'm pretty sure I said, here, I'll check. Did I ghost him? If I think ghosting him is a valid, if he wants to debate me on it, he's a genocide supporter. To what respect do I owe him? If I didn't say anything, that's also a valid. I did ghost him. He emailed me on October 22nd, 2023, 15 days after October 7th, and he was jonesing for it. Oh, well, I stand by the ghosting, I suppose. Like fucking arguing the, you know, just like the whole Gaza Strip is mulched in blood and bone, and we're gonna argue. Well, I the IDF has like categorically lied and like a countless number of claims from then to now, but like I don't know, it's ridiculous. I'm so removed from that point in my life and that state of mind that I can't even like pantomime the disrespect that I have for the subject, you know? I can't even like construct the hyperbolic facsimile. It's probably more healthy. Yeah, probably. Who the fuck debates? Debate what? Dude. Like we're all being led to the camps, man. Like I would fucking disgrace the free moments of my life with a debate on whether or not the Nazi with a jackboot in the back of my neck is, you know, acting lawfully. Diego B, thank you for the $5. Really appreciate that. Akuma Tenchi, thank you for the 3 $5 donos. I really appreciate that. Thank you, thank you. They buried the ambulances. They were like Hamas ambulances. I guess my thought is like if you unironically defend Israel at this point, you either have to be evil and knowingly lying in a very unconvincing fashion, or you have to know so little about what's going on that there's no point in talking about it anyway. It would very much be like a is gravity real kind of debate. I don't know. There are people out there you can debate on that, or like, you know, is climate change real? And it's like, what is there to debate on this? The Blazers fan, thanks the 5 Canadian. Stephanie V, thank you for the $2. Ryan Hughes, thank you for the $20. I really appreciate that. Will this be a recession, depression, or simply the end of the world, and should I care anymore? You should always care. You should always care. Bogo's Killer, Hillel Finder, Galactic Moth, and Pasta Boof. Thank you for the 5 all. Really appreciate that. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Abdullah Nasir, thank you for the $10. I'll raid you, Vosh Senpai. Why am I saying that? I'm a married man with a son, but in all seriousness, what do you expect SCOTUS to do? SCOTUS has no army to enforce the ruling. Shit's cooked. I don't expect them to do much of anything. It would be nice if Roberts contradicted the administration. Dude, I'm running on fumes right now. I'm not gonna lie. I'm strung out thin. I am fiberglass being pulled into a fiber optic cable. You know, I'm being spooled out into a noodle. Go, dude. No, we're almost there. I'm just complaining, but we're almost there. Still alive. Thank you for the $10. Bernie and AOC got packed venues in deep red areas in Salt Lake City and Idaho. So I don't know, it does feel like discontent is growing. I agree that discontent is growing. I don't disagree with that. It's just like a matter of to what extent it's going to be able to make a difference. Now, in the long run, it will make a difference. Galactic Moth and Millions of Dead Raccoons, thank you for the $5 both. I really appreciate that. Thank you. How the South Won the Civil War, Oligarchy, Democracy, and the Continuing Fight for the Soul of America from Heather Cox Richardson. Great read. Galactic Moth, I've actually heard people recommend that book before, I think, unless I'm mistaking the name. Maybe it is good. Jory Reuter, thank you for the €6. Flopingus Republic, thank you for the $2. Adlet Astria, thank you for the $10. I'm a Marine Corps veteran, spent 5 years in 14 to 19, and supported Bernie in 16 and 20. I just cut ties with one of my closest friends from the service because he was completely bought into this BS. It's really unfortunate. Yeah, the military used to not be particularly right-leaning, like the soldiers, I mean, like veterans. But unfortunately, like, that was back in the day when, you know, you had people who were drafted for the Vietnam War, you had people who went in for, like, the Gulf War, I guess. But ever since 9/11, you know, recruitment's down, and the people who jumped into service are mostly, like, jingoistic, like, we're going to show those towelheads what for type guys. And, yeah, they tend to be right-wing. Moisture, thank you for the $5, $10, and then $5 again. Do you think there's any point in covering the Trump administration at this point? It feels pointless if no one cares. Well, hold on. It's important. For one, I get views, which pays my rent and stuff. No, seriously, it's very important to cover this stuff. Like, don't argue for apathy just because it seems like other people are apathetic. That's like the problem, right? I know you've said there's no point in registering Democrat, but how do we participate in primary elections to ensure progressive Democrats win if third parties aren't an option? Oh, this is quotes. Do you think Bernie's gearing up a 2028 campaign with AOC as his running mate? I don't think that, no. I think that he's teeing AOC up, though. I think that he's transferring his aura over to AOC. I think that AOC might be gunning for like the big one. She might skip the Senate. Which at this point, maybe. Aaron Foster, thank you for the $10. The only thing you can do now is your best. It's true. It's always true. Help those who need it and screw those who tell you not to. I'm to reach out to my trans friends and talk about being a safe harbor in a SHTF scenario. Shit hits the fan scenario. Yeah, got to be there for each other. Biden's giving a speech right now, just started. Why would you tell me? I don't... Just made my headache worse. Sean, thank you for the $10. You know how I went into this admit expecting the worst, and yet I never could have imagined how quickly this admit has managed to fuck everything up. Don't worry, exceeded my expectations too. Victorious, thank you for the $5. Real politic is not doomerism. I agree. Milvy and Sean, thank you for the $10 both. Really appreciate that. Martial law is what's going to cause everything to break for better or for worse. Because this country is far too large for it to stay in full force without at least a few people getting shot. Oh, for sure. We'll see what kind of difference it makes. Forget what you can control and focus. Forget about what you can't control and focus on what you can. Exercise, eat better, sleep, exercise your Second Amendment right, arm yourself, write your legislators, protest. Yeah, you got to focus on what you can do. Them's the breaks. High Powered, thank you for the $10. Apparently FHA COVID home loss mitigation is ending in September. I'm sorry, I've recognized the term. I'm too brain fogged to remember what the fuck that is right now. I'm very sorry. That shit sucks, and/or I'm happy for you. Still alive, thanks to the $5. Going to the Oligarchy tour in LA was an amazing experience. Even watching it was really nice, watching it from a distance. Lath Balrog, thank you for the $20 donation. I'm building a greenhouse while I'm listening in. Hell yes! Greenhouses are very cute, very vibes. I've always wanted to, like, raw dog someone nasty style in a greenhouse, you know? I feel like that'd be pretty cool. Because of the vibes. Also, everything smells like dirt, you know? You people are fucking virtue signalers. Well, did he just say that? Did he just say he likes sex? Fuck you. Did you see the Thursday boot store while you were in New York? No. I like Thursday boots based on what I've heard other people say about them, but I don't like their last. They have narrow boots. I have quite a wide foot. For my feet to fit in those, there'd be like an inch of toe space in the front. Now, I'm okay with having overly long sneakers, but for boots, I want that shit to fit like pretty good, you know? But no, Thursday boots are excellent for their price point, for sure. Yeah, I've really been wanting to get some Grandstone boots, but they don't sell any in Seattle. And I don't want to like order boots. I don't fucking know what their measurements are. Brewmastercraft, thank you for the very kind 20 bucks. Also, Vosh, please shout out our dues paying member program. Volunteering is fantastic. However, to be able to continue doing the work we do, please consider becoming a dues paying member. I do really recommend people do that. I say, acknowledging now that I've forgotten yet again to do it myself. Listen, I still contribute, okay? It is important. They do need consistent funds to run the operations they run. I keep meaning to do it. Hi from Canada. Is there a way to help you guys? Yeah, don't buy American. We need to drown a little bit. Don't knock our hand away from the fire. Benjamin Gilbert Liff, thank you for the incredibly kind $500 donation. Here, Vosh, this will make you have a good day. There is a relationship between having lots of money and having a good day. I do agree. There is a correlation there. Thank you very much. I'm surprised you've got the dosh to throw around considering how the markets have been doing. You in the inside in the White House, have you been buying in at the insider trades they've been recommending? There was that like bull coin that went up 300%. There was that one thing that got like that went from like 38 cents a share to like $6 a share or something. Now I've been fucked by it. Barabas Dantiuk, thank you for the $5. I'm probably the one soaked down that Marx would like. I believe you. Maybelline, thank you for the very kind $20. Join Progressive Victory. Be around people who care about things you care about. I phone banked for Josh Wells, and talking to people in Florida that cared as much as I did really did make me think the future can be bright. Yeah, it's very important for the mental. Very, very important. Smorf, thank you for the £2. Hey Fosh, what are your thoughts on Chainsaw Man? Chainsaw Man is really good. I think that part 2 is a little bit undisciplined in its structure and pacing compared to part 1, but maybe it'll all come together like once it's done. You kind of have to evaluate that stuff in hindsight a little bit, I think. And I think it's good, and I think it's done a lot to elevate people's understanding of the medium. Because while there are lots of people who read or watch Chainsaw Man and they're like, oh my god, power titties, power ass, Makima, titty ass, eat rim, cum and butt, whatever. I think that most people who engage with the material understand the point. And I think the main way you can tell is that Denji gets sexually assaulted like 50 times, and I overwhelmingly see people who feel bad for him. And I think it takes a lot of skill to pull that off, because so for those, this is like a light spoiler for part 2, but I'm going to be kind of abstract with it. There's a point where Denji, who's the main character, and he's like a very sad boy, gets forcibly jerked off to completion by a hot, cool, badass chick. And overwhelmingly, in response to that happening, I saw the fan base for Chainsaw Man recognize it as sexual assault and feeling bad for him. And I think it's really difficult to do that when it's like a popular anime, and overwhelmingly, like, I would expect everyone to be like, well, I want a cool, hot, badass chick to jerk me off or whatever, which don't we all? But, you know, you need consent, right? That's the magic ingredient. I think, and you know, it makes sense too, because there was a lot of like understanding of sexual assault, I guess, as a subject in Fire Punch, right? The manga from Fujimoto before. Also had a trans man in that one. Yeah. Brewmastercraft, thank you for the $10. Remember joining PV as Poggers? That is absolutely the case. Oh, with the additional $10 as well, on top of the volunteer work I do, I also host an unofficial Minecraft server for our members. Did you ever just want to phone bank and play Minecraft at the same time? Now you can join us. That actually sounds quite fun. That sounds quite fun. What about removing the sexual assault in Invincible? Did they? Wait, Knivable? What did you even mean to type there? What was that? Men always understand consent when it's about them. Respectfully, I strongly disagree. I actually think that the opposite of that is true. I think that people are much more cognizant of sexual assault when it's being done to a woman, but when it's being done to a man, overwhelmingly people are a lot worse about that. Not saying that men have it worse, you know what I mean? Just like in terms of recognizing it. Some saying it should be removed. They're not going to remove the sexual assault in Invincible. Or not sexual assault, rape. They're not going to remove the rape in Invincible. There's no way they will. What I can't wait to see is what happens when Mark's mother reunites with Omni-Man, because in the comic, because they've done so much more to give her agency in the show relative to the comic, and there's like a difference in how it's been handled. Wow, an entire stream segment dedicated to spoiling shows I'm about to watch. Incredible. Cry about it. I guess, like, sob, weep, even. Fall to your knees. Can't talk about shit, man. I gotta finish this. Have you finished Invincible? I've read the whole comic. I haven't watched the most recent season. Okay, Doomer with the $10. Kyle Kalinske recently pointed out that our complacency depends heavily on the cheap stuff we get from China. I agree. Yeah, we haven't even begun to feel the effects of the tariffs yet. Stuff takes time. It's been like a week. Barabas Dantiuk, thank you for the $5. Bernie calling AOC his daughter as a joke was definitely a highlight. I didn't know he did that. That's quite cute. And Vera, thank you for the $5. Are you going to stop streaming if there's a threat to your safety? God, please, I'm just a regular guy, you know. I finish stream and I go make a meal with the rice in the rice cooker and the chili in the fridge. You're gonna give me a goddamn complex over this, you know? What do you mean if I'm going to stop? I don't know. Jay Nelly Boy, thank you for the $15. Go play Fly Night. Use this 15 buckaroos on stream. Nice try, motherfucker. Already beat it. Maybe Tempest, but I'm out of here as soon as I'm done with donos. A Cosmic Dragon Lover, thank you for the $10. For anyone not feeling great about the current state of the world, it's been helping me a lot to read the old Oz books. They're a cozy and good read and listen. People don't read enough. Wardpipe, thank you for the $10. Hey Vosh, you're doing a good job. We're all struggling and people are often turning to you for a direction. I'm sure it's hard. Keep it up. I don't mind the direction stuff necessarily. I mean, I try my best to give good advice. It's just sometimes people's, it's the incessant, what is going to happen in the future. Also, are you aware that you're in danger? I don't know. And yes, like, yeah, Level Up Girl, thank you for the $5. Much appreciated. And the Radical Dino, thank you for the tier 2 sub. Have you heard about the actress of live action Toph saying she wants to make Toph more feminine? Yeah, I saw that. That's pretty crazy considering like there's a whole episode of the show dedicated to examining the relationship between femininity and Toph's like repressive upbringing and how she expresses herself. So I don't know. It's like pretty crazy. I just, does anyone like watch the source material? I don't know. Whatever. Biden's live right now. Good. You can all watch him. I'm done. All right, guys. I'll see you tomorrow. I did it. I read the donos. Yay. Hardest job in the world. Yay. Thank you guys very, very much. Fucking good night.